Good morning, everyone. A warm welcome, everyone, to today's webinar on MSME. Today, our chief guest, Sri Mittapalli Srinivas Chakravarti Garu, is here, and our speaker, Sri A. Tarakeshwara Garu, also is available here. I request our chairman, Guntur Branch Chairman J. Srinivasrao Garu, to hand over the proceedings. Sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Chitta Raghunandan Sikasa, Chairman of Guntur Branch. Good morning, one and all.
Morning, sir.
Very good morning. Yeah, good morning to today's chief guest, T.A. Tarakeshwara Garu, RM of Guntur Branch, Guntur region, and today's chief guest, Mittapalli Srinivasa Chakravarti, the managing director of the Mittapalli Group and vice chairman of the college, engineering colleges. And I request, a warm good morning to all the members who are participating here. And warm greetings to all our brother committee members also, past chairman Suram Krishna and Amarnath. And our guest of honor, Changal Reddy sir. Good morning, sir. He's there, I think. He's about to join in a few minutes. Now, a request to the Sikasa chairman, Chinta Raghunandan, to please introduce our today's chief guest to the August gathering. Over to Chinta Raghunandan. Please introduce our chief guest.
Thank you, sir.
Chakravarti Garu.
Okay, thank you, sir. Today's chief guest of our today's session, Sri Mittapalli Chakravarti Garu. He born in 1974. He is from our Guntur. He studied ISB, Hyderabad, Wharton Business School, Kellogg's Business School, Executive MBA. And studied Oklahoma City University, USA, Masters of Science in Computers. He had completed SRM Engineering College, BTech. His occupations: from 2002, currently he is SNC Staffing INC USA and Vice President. From 2011 to present, he is in Vice Chairman of Gayatri Education Development Society. From 2011 to present, he is a Vice Chairman of Sri Mittapalli Trust. From 2011 to present, he is a co-founder and Managing Director of Mittapalli Spinners Limited, Nasrapet. His education qualifications, education services, curriculum achievements: modified the academic curriculum in our colleges with IITs, industrialists, and other academicians. Orchestrates the daily operations of our 5 colleges with over 9,000 plus students and 12,000 teaching and non-teaching staff members. Skill development: nurtured over 20,000 plus students in advanced technologies and life skills and motivated them. Skills not just limited to latest technologies, but also focused on building an ecosystem of exposure and communication. He is also partnered with various foreign universities like Stanford Scholars University, New Mexico State University, Boston University for upscaling teaching staff and conducted various programs in latest research fields. He pushed teaching and bridged industry-institute relation with internships and with visits to companies. He also motivated to compete with existing leaders in education, always focused on to produce engineers of high caliber with entrepreneurial skills. He had built incubation centers and encouraged multiple startups and SMEs. Strengths: diversified network. As an ISB, Wharton and Kellogg's alumni, the network strength is very high and was able to enjoy a virtuous circle and number of overseas contacts. Owning educational, industrial, and technology firms always help to expand the circle of although overseas collaborations. Maintained a very cordial relationship with various industry leaders after 18 years of exposure in the US consulting industry. Helped students to get jobs in top core and technology driven companies in campus placements. Strong industrial exposure. Adapted state of art technology, process, and research to produce high quality yarn to meet the expectations of Indian and international market. Oversee management of 500 plus employees in various divisions in the factory. Take care of strategy, financials, core operations, purchase, and sales. Various associations, foreign university associations like Stanford University Innovation Fellowship Program, Venture Development Program with I2E Northeastern University Boston, Artificial Intelligence and Deep Learning Center of Excellence Associations, Indo-European Skills Centers for Mechatronics and Industrial Robotics, Germany. Online tutorials and classes from Scholars University, California. Has spent 9 years in India, running 5 institutions, imparting technical and professional education at UG and PG levels in engineering, pharmaceutical and management studies. More than 22,000 engineers have been graduated from their group of institutions. Social services, computer training to housewives and retired persons in computer and internet usage, free water supply in dry areas of Nasrapet and Pannadu region, enhancement quality of living to various development of their economy and quality of living. With this, I welcome today's chief guest Sri Mettapalli Srinivas Chakravarti Garu to the address gathering.
Okay, thank you for the introduction.
Over to
Good
you.
morning, one and all.
Very good morning.
Respected Chairman, Secretary, our today's speaker, Sri Tarkes Rao Garu, and all the organizing committee and the panel members. Very good morning. And first of all, I'm so glad to be part of such a nice program being conducted by ICAI. And coming to the MSME, it's very important for our economy and also the job creation, that to encourage the new startups and ventures in our country, which is being done by MSME. Of course, the whole and sole purpose of MSME is to encourage and to boost the economic things into our country. And that helps for the job creation also, which is very good. And bringing awareness among many industrialists or many common man at this point of time is very important, because not many people know what MSME is and what are the benefits, or also what is the existence, why it is existed. People doesn't know about this. So I mean, including me, when I just started my industry, that's when I came to know about MSME. But before that, of course, I was in US and I didn't know much about that. But giving awareness at the early level, maybe after the graduation level for every student and all the employees, will encourage them to come up with their startup or start a new venture that also create more jobs, and that will help develop the nation. And I congratulate and the ICAI national level and the Guntur chapter for doing this program, and all the best. Thank you very much for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you, Srinivas Chakravarti Garu. Thank you for your valuable words. Thank you. If you stay with us, please. Raghu, please mute all.
Hello.
Okay, sir.
Somebody are using Mixi like that. Yeah. Now I request treasurer or branch treasurer Notrapata Amarnath to introduce today's speaker A. Tarkes Rao Garu, the SBI RM of Guntur region. This is the sir, we are having you for the second time, sir. For Banker, if we call you, and now it's very pleasure to have you, sir. Go to Notrapata, please introduce our Tarkes Rao Garu, please. August gathering, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Chairman, sir. And good morning to one and all. And today's chief guest, Mettapalli Kalyan Chakravarti Garu, and speaker A. Tarkes Rao Garu, and ex officio of Guntur branch Changaladdi Garu. Good morning to you also. Yeah, I am here. It is my pleasure to introduce today's speaker A. Tarkes Rao Garu. He is currently holding a position of regional manager SBI Guntur region. He born in 1974 in Jamshedpur, Jharkhand. His qualifications are BCom, MBA, CA, IIB, CFA. He joined in SBI as a probationary officer in 2001 and worked as a field officer, accountant, branch manager in 3 different sizes of branches. He is RM of medium enterprise. Hello.
Continue, Naman.
Yes, sir. Yeah, he is RM of medium enterprises and AGM of SME region, and now posted as regional manager of Guntur region, heading 38 branches. He is also worked in 9 districts of Andhra Pradesh state. With this brief introduction, I am inviting today's speaker, A. Tarakeshwara Garu, to speak over the today's topic. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Nutal Bhattamanna. Sir, before going to the speaker, please, I request today's guest of honor is ready. It's a bit late. Sir, over to Changal Reddy, sir. Please address the gathering in a few minutes, sir. Hello.
Chairman, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Please go ahead.
Today's chief guest, Mr. Mettapalli Srinivasulu Chakravarti Garu, and Chairman of Gunturu branch, CA Jonalgada Srinivas Garu, and the today's speaker, Tarakeshwara Rao Garu, who has, I think, the second time he has joined with the Guntur branch. Yes. The other committee members, Nutal Bhattamanna, the treasurer, and Raghunandan, Chinta Raghunandan, and the other managing committee members of Gunturu branch, and the members who joined virtually this MSME Day, International MSME Day program. My compliments and my congratulations and wishes to each and every one of you on the occasion of International MSME Day. I think our chief guest already touched the importance of the MSME and what is the role of MSME and how it plays an important role in the Indian economy and all. Yes, obviously in India, MSME contributes nearly 80% of the country's GDP and around 45% of the manufacturing output is contributed by the MSME, and approximately 40% of the country's exports also are contributed by the MSME, we can say. It won't be wrong to refer them as a backbone of the country. Yes, obviously MSMEs are backbone of the country. The government of India introduced MSME in 2006 by the Act of MSME 2006. MSME are an important sector for the Indian economy and have contributed immensely to the country's socio-economic development. It not only generates employment opportunities, but also works hand in hand towards the development of the nation's backward and rural areas. According to the 2018-19 survey, I think there are around 8.1 million MSME in India. MSMEs are refined with the more and more recently by after the COVID 2019. Yes, obviously there is an Atmanirbhar Bharat has been introduced in 2020. What are all the Atmanirbhar Bharat provisions and all? Collateral free loans and the arrangement of loans to MSME worth 3 lakh crores and an offer of MSME to get moratorium period of 12 months and the consideration in manufacturing and service sector as the same entities, and there are certain repayment tenure of also has been granted. 100% credit guarantee has given. I think with respect to the MSME, we as a chartered accountant play an important role in identifying, yes, when a client approaches, yes, I want to start a business, unless if he has already in mind which business he has to start. Obviously, we can guide them if we know the MSME guidelines and what are all the benefits extended to the MSME, which sector has got more benefits. If we know, then only we'll be able to give the advices to our clients. Yes, every chartered accountant has to go through the MSME guidelines and industrial policy of the respective states. That's why our committee chairman Dheeraj Khandelwal has initiated to collect all the industrial policies of all the states and has to host in the website of our ICA, so that each and every chartered accountant can go through the MSME guidelines and they can be able to understand before giving any guidance to the MSME units. These are the main motto of this MSME Day today. Yes, it's a welcome move by our ICI. The MSME sector plays a vital role in our chartered accountants also. Yes, obviously, when we start our career, obviously we may not get bigger companies. We have to start with the MSME sectors only. It's a welcome move for all the young chart accountants. My sincere request to each and every young chart accountant, please go through the MSME guidelines before you start your career. Then only you will be able to guide the client. Yes, this is the main objective of MSME Day. I think today's speaker, Tarkeswar Rao sir, will enlighten all the members who joined this virtually. What are all the benefits extended by the MSME sector? What is the industrial policy? Where we need to be very, very cautious while we are advising our clients. This is the main motto of MSME Day. With this, I conclude my opening remarks. My sincere thanks to the entire team of Guntur branch for organizing such a wonderful session by an eminent speaker, Tarkeswar Rao sir. With this, my compliments and my congratulations to the team. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Changal Reddy Garu, the RM Regional Council member of the Guntur branch. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, over to you, sir. Tarkeswar Rao sir, today's speaker. Please.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, all dignitaries.
Very good morning.
Metamali Srinivas Chakravarti Garu, chief guest of today's meeting. Srinivas Garu, chairman of ICI Guntur unit, and all the members joining in this meeting. At MSME plays very important role from the bank of a point of view. Also, is very important role because MSME is the backbone of any economy. They creates a job opportunity for a lot of people. Almost 100 million people are dependent on MSME directly or indirectly, because this not only MSME creates an employment for their unit, around a linked unit also there. Like suppose if you see Maruti company is there, so there are so many units linked. They develop, they manufacture spare parts and different parts they develop. Similar, so many units are dependent on MSME only. So even big companies, Reliance or whatever names, Tata company, all there, all for them, they are indirectly or directly dependent on MSME sector only. So MSME creates a lot of employment opportunities, and creates an income generation from a lot of people, and directly or indirectly to state, our government, central or state government. So the government also initiated many of the steps to encourage MSME. Earlier, there was no such a specific definition for MSME. In 2006, the government came up with a definition of what is the investment in plant and machinery or equipment. Here, both manufacturing and services sector comes in MSME. So recently, last year, again, government has revised the guidelines. Accordingly, government they have revised the, not only they added investment in plant and machinery and equipment. Not only that, again, they have introduced into turnover part also. So I'm going to share the slides I prepared for related to MSME financing, how we are going to get finance, and what are the parameters we generally, as a banker, what are the parameter we see for financing MSME. I think now, I'm able to show it.
Yes, we can see, sir.
The basic information that how MSME is funding by all banks, not only I think basic structure of financing is all banks, they see generally these parameters. So what is MSME? Basic, what is MSME? Manufacturing service enterprises. A new definition was announced on 13th May 2020. MSME classification criteria has been changed from investment to investment and annual turnover basis. Earlier it was only investment. Now, as for micro, where we call micro MSME.
Sir, sorry for interrupting, sir. Can you make it full screen, sir? Not that one, sir. Sir, click F, sir.
F, huh?
Yeah. Click on the PPT and then click F, sir.
Yeah, okay now.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, fine, sir.
Classification MSME, micro investment is where less than 1 crore and turnover is less than 5 crore, that we call a micro. For small, it's investment less than 10 crore and turnover is less than 50 crores. For medium, less than investment is 20 crores and turnover is less than 100 crores. Investment means here investment in plant and machinery and equipment. The services like hospitals or doctors. So equipment, investment equipment will be criteria for MSME. It is a composite criteria. It is a composite. If any item crosses the limit, the definition will change. Suppose micro in investment changes 1 crore, more than 1 crore, and the turnover crosses more than 5 crores, so that will come to small. I guess similarly from small, if it crosses investment more than 10 crores and turnover 50 crores, that will come to medium. Once in 100 crore turnover process or investment plan about 20 crores, it will come to large units. So whatever MSME definition will change after this crossing. Here, the investment means WT value of the previous year. Suppose this 21 year, March 21 will be the whatever WT value in a balance sheet is there, that will be called as a investment in plant and machinery equipment. Whatever they are showing in balance sheet, that will be the criteria. Earlier, the clarification was not there. So whether total original investment in plant and machinery equipment will take as an investment or the WT value. So now last time in the last revised this in 2020, they have given clarification that the WT value, whatever in previous financial balance sheet, they will show that will treat it as a investment in plant and machinery equipment. MSME is the main source of employment generation. MSME can be both ancillary and main industry. There are many industries where the main industry itself is MSME. Like food processing units are there in our bank. There are shrimp processing unit, export-oriented units are there. They are the main industry. They are the main industry. They create almost 400 to 500 people are working in one company. So in surrounding Guntur and surrounding in East Godavari and West Godavari, there are many industries are coming. These are the only main industry where equipment, investment equipment is less than 50, 10 crores or 20 crores, whatever. As per that, we define the MSME single unit. MSME loan effective source of funds for small business owners. This not only create these loans are not only create this one, but also source of business. Many of the units they want to create put an industry or a small business also. They need a funding of some for purchase of equipment or manufacturing say small manufacturing machinery also. Sometimes they don't get that support. So because here what is happening MSME, there is a small drawback is here fixed assets we are not taking as a MSME. Like even they construct a building that we will not take, we are not going to take as MSME. Whatever investment they are making for investment in a building or whatever. So there here only criteria investment in plant and machinery equipment. So where anyone want to put an industry, so they need additional funding for like creation of fixed assets or furnitures and everything. So for that they need funding from MSME loans. Aim to fill a credit MSME, mainly banking are working to support MSME sector to maximum. We finance up to in our we have three system of financing MSME. Up to 50 crores we generally do. Our regional our rural and digital banking segment is there. We have up to 50 crores we finance. Above 50 crores up to 500 crores we have separate MCG where a medium and corporate group is finance. And above 500 crores, we will go to a company account. So basically MSME sector financed by our small branches surrounding in centers, all centers we finance. This also we provide overall development small scale industry through development training program. We conduct many of the training programs at different centers. We have RFI, one small regional financial inclusion program. We have one institute is there, and we have a small in every district headquarter we have that one, where we train people who are interested for training, who want to develop they want to set up their own industry or own units. We give a small training with collaboration of the state government or central government, whatever programs are there. In Tirupati, when I worked there, one skill development industry was there we have financed for that industry. That institute also we have financed under MSME. So they develop only skill development program they conduct, they train the people and they send to different organizations. Because in Nellore district, there are 3 SCZs are there. 3 SCZs, so many of the industries are coming and so for them, they need a training program. So for that, we conduct a training program and we finance the one training institute also to develop MSME sector. Here, loan can be both secured and unsecured depending on the borrower's repayment capacity on the bank's terms and conditions. Here we finance both secured and unsecured. Unsecured in the sense like stocks and hypothecation, stocks and receivables are there, where most of them are unsecured. But we go further go there, we'll explain how it works in our banking system. Generally, for any loans, we need KYC documents required for any this one: Aadhaar, PAN card, and passport. In addition to that, wherever they're creating an unit, we need a utility bill such as electricity, water, or broadband, or bill or rent agreement, where the unit they are creating an unit. Financial proof, last year IT returns, profit and loss account statement, or bank account statement, where if they are they are already in the business and they are doing transactions. Here, last year IT returns are not mandatory in case of anyone who want to create a new unit, because they don't have any existing record, so they don't need to submit IT documents. Profit and accounts statement, generally we need to know what is the project they are going to create, and what is the future income they are going to generate from this unit. So these are our general profit and loss account statement we require. Here, one thing I want to tell you that up to 25 in our bank, there is no need to sign by auditors. I think last time also we had a discussion that many of the branches are asking for signed by the auditors. But here I want to give clarification. Recently, government has come up with a restructuring plan for the unit who are suffering because of COVID. Here, what happened in above above 25 units, above 25 lakhs limits, whatever. Income tax auditor's signature, the government has put a condition, the auditor signature required. So here now, I think bank branches are asking for auditor signature on those because a restructuring blanketly, the government has not given blanketly. They want to see that whether really activities is going on, and they have some auditor is going to check all the financial statement, and they will have to give with the UDN number. Business related documents like Udyami registration is now mandatory to MSME, to have MSME. This now is mandatory because government maybe want to have some subsidy or some whatever facilities they want to extend. That's why Udyami registration has made mandatory now. That firm registration, property or partnership, as per their so the firm registration should be there. GST registration is required, although maybe GST filing is not mandatory in many of the units. But GST registration mandatory. Professional certificate in case a chartered accountant or doctors or other professionals or lawyers, or they want to avail on their professional certificate, they have to submit. Partnership deed, in case of partnership firm, they have to submit partnership deed. SIN, in case of corporates, they have to create a SIN, article of action wherever applicable. This working capital MSME schemes, basically we finance for both working capital and term loan. Working capital loan to fulfill a daily cash requirement, daily running business. Cash credit, bill discounting facility for export oriented unit. We both bill discounting we give to discount bills, whatever export bills are there. Even local bill facilities, the inland bills are there, or export bills are both are there. A letter of credit also we have a finance on the letter of credit wherever export import bills are there, we do. Term loans for capital expansion, setting up of a any project. Here project cost means from A to Z, sir, from like even from ground leveling to till opening of a unit. We take as a project cost. For a total project cost we can take as a total project cost. So many of the times we say that only for investment in plant and machinery or the fixed assets only we take as a project cost, but here, not like that. Project cost means from purchase of land, even for purchase of land for you, if you want to set up a unit and you purchase a land for your setting of a unit, that also comes under project cost, including interest repayment during moratorium period till you go for a DCCO. That also can be a part of project cost. Capital expenditure, any major expenditure you are buying or buying fixed asset, for all this we finance term loans. Secure term loan against collateral residential. Generally, we finance against the collaterals of residential or commercial or industrial property. We have to mortgage to us. Loan for purchasing construction equipment and commercial vehicles. We also finance under term loans. Assessment of working capital we do, as you all know. I think we all as chartered account we know how we up to 5 crores a limit we sanction by banks. We finance under a NAIC committee. 25% annual turnover projected down as per annual projected turnover, 5% requirement to be met by the borrower from his own sources, and he has to show as a capital, and 20% should be by the bank. Maximum another above 5 crores finance is there. Maximum permissible bank finance as per the need based finance. Whatever the requirement they have, as per that we assess as per the cycle of their receivables and their cash cycles. We assess finance. Here up to we go for 25 to 30% also, even 30% also we finance. But as per the unit requirement and unit having the record of unit financial strength and all that. Basically, these are all required where the export oriented units are there, where cycle is almost 45 days or 60 days or 90 days. Accordingly, we finance for granite units. Sometimes they go to 6 months also. So according to for that, we need more finance from bank to have a better cycle. Cash budget method, receipt of payments are projected and deficit indicated the required bank finance applicable to seasonal industries like rice mills, sugar mills, etc., where only 3 to 4 months of season is there. So in season they need large amount finance. For non-season, they don't require finance. So we assess as per the cash budget method. Even for contractors also, like there are many contractors like railways, government contractors. We do cash budget because sometimes their cycle is different, and we do on cash budget method. A government sponsored schemes, mainly government sponsored scheme. All other government scheme sponsored schemes are there. Here 2-3 government sponsored schemes are basically we go through regularly. CGTMSE loans up to 2 crore, maximum 2 crores is there. It's not a government sponsored actually. It's only a government because in CGTMSE what happens? There are many of the young people who want to set up a industry or unit, but they don't have collateral properties to offer to the bank. So in that government, what the government has done, up to 2 crores of loan, government created a trust where government guarantees on behalf of them. For that, they have to pay a charge of 2.5% of annual fee. They have to pay charges plus GST. They have to unit has to bear. This is also a costly affair, but wherever we generally suggest that wherever possible, even 50% if units are good, even 50% collateral they submit, they provide us. We try to finance with the collaterals only, because 2.5% is additional burden to the unit. PMEGP integrated subsidy scheme linked with primary Rozgar and unemployment youth. Unemployed youth. Generally, this is related to KVIC, where Khadi and village industries are there. Their government Prime Minister scheme has provided, where they provide up to 25 lakhs loan. Scheme guidelines are there. As per that, basically this is related to KVIC, Khadi and village industries only. Stand Up India, here between about 10 lakhs to 1 crore to one scheduled caste or scheduled tribe borrower, and one woman here, one woman entrepreneur, anyone woman entrepreneur is there, and if they belongs to scheduled caste or scheduled tribe, then some subsidy scheme is there. Here under finance under Stand Up India. Apart from that, Mudra scheme, after Prime Minister Modi has come, Prime Minister have introduced Mudra scheme up to 10 lakh to encourage small traders or businessmen under the different scheme. Shishu loan is up to 50,000. Kishore up to 5 lakh, Tarun up to 10 lakh. All these are schemes are covered under CGTMSE scheme, and government bears the whatever premium charges they have to pay. The government bears these charges. Premium charges 2.5% of the annual whatever limit is there, they have to pay annually. In our bank, we assess as per RBI norm also, we have to assess any loan proposal. We have to assess under credit risk assessment. We do CRA before any assessment of above 50 lakh. Up to 50 lakh, there is no internal rating system is there. As per their background, we do the rating and we finance. But above 50 lakhs, as per RBI now, we have to do credit risk assessment. As per CRA and security coverage, the bank charges interest rate. The major parameter CRA is, as a CA, you know, there are many other parameters like current ratio, TLW, all these parameters. Apart from those parameters, whatever the benchmark we have, these are the additional parameters where we, as a banker, we look after to see that these are good while processing the risk assessment. We find that these are the important parameters. That's why I thought I should educate you about these parameters. CIBIL score should be more than 650, sir. Otherwise, you will get zero score. So what will happen if you don't get a CIBIL score of more than 650? Your risk will go up, and your interest rate will go up. Length of satisfactory relationship with the bank. If we have a 2 years, past 2 years in history with our bank, if we don't have a DPD of more than 60 days on any account, your interest rate will be very less. The risk CRA will be very good, and your interest rate will be very less. Recently, we financed one unit, shrimp processing unit. We financed at the rate of 7.4%, sir, because his DPD was very low and CIBIL score was very high. We financed for at the rate of 7.4, whereas for housing loans we are doing at 6.9%, 6.7 to 6.9% as per their CIBIL score. But food processing unit, and almost we financed 50 crores of unit. We financed at 7.4. It's a very cheapest interest rate. I think we have sanctioned a loan. Routing of turnouts through the account. We have find that while assessing many of the units, especially the rice mill and cotton and all those units, they have a very good turnover. They show turnover in GST returns also. But what happens is, whatever turnover they are making, they're not going through routing through the account. So that is also affecting their transaction. Now our system totally, in earlier days also, it was cash to cash system was there. So whatever cash they have taken, again whatever the cash is coming to the account, on that basis only assessment is doing the our internal system is there. They do like that only. Adherence on the some sanction. I suggest that any of the loans sanctioned by the banker, any banker, not only SBI, any bank sanction, whatever sanction terms and conditions are there, once I think go through the transaction sanction terms and conditions, and you see that all sanction terms and conditions are complied by the unit. Otherwise, while doing the rating, their rating is getting hampered, and they're getting the charge higher interest rates. So I suggest is go through the sanction terms and conditions. If you think that some of the conditions may not able to comply by the unit, they have to immediately submit a letter to that. These are the conditions we are not able to comply because of certain constraints. In that way, they have to again come to the bank. Otherwise, what happens, while next year when we are going for renewal, this non-compliance of sanction terms and conditions is affecting their rating. Delay in submission of data. I think many of these problems are we are regularly facing in branch. And now what happened in, because now DFS, the Department of Financial Service, a very last 2 to 3 years, what happening is they have entered into banking system, and whatever data we are providing to them, they're going through in detail about the data. And so what happening, even if feeding a stock statement or financial statement or a rating or a financial follow-up report also, we have a system where we have to feed all these data in core banking solution. And from there they take the data, that DFS is taking data, and they're analyzing. They have a separate team of analyzing when these data they are submitting by the unit, and what the banker is doing about the data. So they want some financial discipline in the units. And so now what is happening, delayed financial data also, that is affecting their rating. And not only that, we are also charging penalties for not submitting some financial data like balance sheet. They have to submit within 6 months from the year closing. Stock statement as per their product, they have to submit every month, next month of 20th. And financial power of repeat, wherever the units are having about 10 crores limit, they have to submit quarterly and half-yearly. They have to submit financial power of report. So these are all the parameters also while doing risk assessment. Those are affecting. And a quick ratio, recently, as per the government RBI guidelines, the bank has introduced a quick ratio to the units where the limit is above 5 crores, where the current inventory current liabilities ratio is more than 100, a good score. But if less than 75, it is only acceptable. So 1.5%, 1.5 should be the ratio of inventory and current liabilities. That we have to ensure, sir. And in our bank, we rate interest rate. We charge interest rate as per their rating and collateral coverage. If SB rating 1 to 5 it comes, and collateral coverage is more than 100%, we charge at 7.65. If a rating comes up to 6 and 7 to above, we charge 8.15, and if even worse, more than 7, we charge more interest rate. Similarly, if collateral coverage is 75% to 100%, we charge 7.9% up to SB5, and SB6 to 7, 8.40. So these are the interest rate. Basically, we try to help the units as much as possible in all the parameters. Sometimes they do say that some experience is not there, so we try to give them a full score. But there are many of the parameters. These parameters, while crossing, also they are taking from a system. Background system is there. As per the transaction, the system is automatically they're fetching those data. So there we are not able to help them, and interest rate is affecting. So I think interest rate is one of the criteria where these industries will survive. If they get a good interest rate at a concession rate of interest, they have a better opportunity of getting good profits, and they can improve their expansion programs and all that. These are the government subsidy schemes. At present, we generally go through general banks, whatever the schemes, whatever proposal coming to our bank. We see that generally these are the scheme. PMEG scheme, they basically for KVIC. Interest subsidy schemes here for export oriented unit, almost government is charging only 3%. We are charging only 3%. We are extending loans at 3%. Less than 3% export oriented unit. Interest subsidy schemes are there. As for state government and the central government, there are many schemes where after paying your interest, as per their record, they finance for 3%, 2 to 3%. They reverse the interest interest into their account, whatever the interest they have paid. Food processing schemes, there are concessions are there. Food processing unit, we provide loans at around below 8%. And subsidy is also there, around 10 to 25% subsidy is there for investment in plant and machinery. Credit links of capital sector technical upgradation. There are many units, and especially in SCZ, who are going for technical upgradation. They get subsidy from government. These are all basically back-end subsidies are there. But recently, I came across where SIM processing unit government is providing a front-end subsidy of up to 10 crores. Up to 10 crores, 25% of the project cost, or 10 crores, maximum 10 crores. Central government is providing subsidy. So that depends. Subsidy schemes depends on the scheme to scheme. As per the state government or central government, they have their different departments, and there are different departments. Accordingly, we do provide governments provide subsidies. With this, I close my presentation, sir. I request all our members are present there to support us also, whatever is there, whatever the units you are getting. We also try to help you, sir. We try to your clients also. We try to help as much as possible in Guntur. We have Narsarapeta. There are many units coming up, especially dal mills are coming up. And Tenali also, many of the dal mills are coming, and rice mills are coming up. So if any of the clients are there, you provide us their numbers, and we are also support as much as possible as a banker. Definitely, we will looking forward for that. Thank you for giving this opportunity, Sir Srinivas, sir. ICA chairman here. I think it's a good opportunity to interact with you all also. It's a great opportunity for me to interact with you. So this is the second time I'm interacting with you all. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, sir. Thank you, sir. Tarkeswara Garu.
Sir.
Actually, the program scheduled for is up to 1 o'clock already. I mean, you told that over. Thank you very much. Raghu.
Sir, any of the discussion we can take up, sir? What are the issues you are facing?
Sure,
that will be better.
Yes, sir. I request, I appeal to all the members. If any doubts, please. Speaker is available. Is a member, banker. Please, any doubts or any queries, please raise to the speaker. It's MSME registration process is also very easy, sir. Actually.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sir. Directly, we being chartered accountants, we can also register for MSME registration, sir. Up to how much subsidy we will get, sir?
Subsidy, sir, I think here subsidy scheme is for chartered accountants. I have not gone through, sir. We have not received any.
Oh,
Basically, sir, they see manufacturing, basically manufacturing unit only they see the subsidy, sir.
okay. I mean, we are not covered under MSME.
Yes, sir, we are covered in MSME, but whatever definition they have given, but subsidy program they are not able to give, sir. So subsidy, I have not seen any, even for doctors also, we tried, but they are not getting any subsidies.
Oh, okay. We are just asking all the clients, sir. We are telling them, please register for MSME so that we will getting some subsidy. We are like that, sir. We are, I mean, now 20 members, I mean, on by from my clients, I mean, 20 members have been registered for MSME.
Yes, sir. I think all have to do now. Recently, the government has an Udyami registration, sir. I don't know what is their criteria. So Udyami registration is now mandatory, sir. Until now they do Udyami registration, I don't know. They won't be treated as MSME, sir. That is one of the problem now.
Okay.
So because for us in core banking, we have to feed their registration number. Then from there, they are picking the data and they're treating as MSME.
Sir, Garlapad Satyanarayan, sir, please unmute and please have your question, sir. Garlapad Satyanarayan, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Over to you, sir.
What are the industries are eligible for subsidy for food processing industry?
వినిపిస్తుందండి చెప్పండి.
Food processing industries, what are the industries are now eligible? Whether rice mills are eligible, whether other industries, what is a rice mill is a conventional industry. That industry also eligible for subsidy for food processing industry.
Yes, sir. For rice mills, I think 25 lakhs, up to 25 lakhs of subsidy government is providing, sir, for rice mills and dal mill. That comes under food processing unit, sir. But now this cold storage is there also government is on good subsidies, sir. Up to 5 crore subsidy is there for cold storage and godowns.
What is the percentage of capital subsidy for cold storage?
Percentage, I don't remember, sir, but 25% is there, sir. 25%.
25% of the project cost or the plant investment?
No, for project cost, sir. Project cost. Yes, sir.
Sir, Anjireddy, sir. Anyone? Ramkrishna? Arvapalli Ramkrishna? Yes, sir.
These all subsidies are a back end, sir. So processing it takes time, and we should have different contacts with. To be honest, to have a contact with the different government departments. Then only these things are coming. So recently, also I saw the one food SIM processing unit also. He almost struggled for 1 year to get subsidy. So initially, government all schemes are there. So I think some parameters are there. We all for that also subsidy processing also. It takes time, but subsidy the people get it. But now in MSA, what happens? Many of the units are coming with only for subsidy. On that way, what is happening is sometimes what is they're not getting subsidy after processing because of some any criteria they're not able to fulfill. Government's criteria not able to fulfill. So that time they are facing some problem. But I think before going for subsidy, I think we should know what kind of industry they are going to put up and what is the subsidy available and what are the document checklist they are asking. So beforehand itself, while setting up the unit itself, they should be ready with all those processes and everything. Otherwise, what will happen? They expect that some subsidy will come and they jump into a unit. They say they set up the unit, but after that, what happens? They don't get a subsidy for some reasons. So that is one of the that kind of problem also we are facing. Customers are coming and they're complaining that we are not we have asked for subsidy and we have submitted the papers, but so far we are not receiving. So in here, what happens as a banker, we don't process subsidies. Only what we do is we give the whatever papers, like they ask for, generally our sanction papers they ask, our processing papers also they ask, and whatever the account statement or some certificates that they ask, whether account was the unit inspection we have done, stage wide disbursement we have done, all those things as a banker we take that responsibility. But subsidy processing, all those things are done by the different government departments, sir.
Okay.
So I suggest that you should guide the customers also to approach the government departments before going for a subsidy processing. Sometime whatever they.
Sir,
Yes.
can I, two things. One,
Yes, sir.
what is the interest rate for the service sectors like chartered accountants? One. Two, is the societies are eligible for the bank loans?
Yes, sir. For chartered accounts, interest rate will come. That's all. So CIBIL, as per CIBIL, your rating will come. Recently, actually, we launched last time. I told some for specifically chartered accountants without any collateral. We launched a specific scheme for chartered accountants, sir. I will share with Srinivas, sir. Last time, now that scheme is not with me. Last time I told all chartered accountants we have SBI launched a special scheme that comes around 8 to 8.5% only without any collateral. So for setup of your unit, setup of your office also up to I think 25 lakhs is something there. I will share a brief scheme with Srinivas, sir, your chairman. For trust and societies, we do finance, sir. We do finance but we do what happening is see in banking, whenever there is any bad thing happens, so immediately we stop lending that sector. Trust and society also we finance. Metropolis Trust, their account is also with us only. Trust and societies also we finance as per their guidelines or bylaws are there. If their provision is there to take finance from bank, we do, sir. We definitely do. Most of the engineering college and all are run on the trust or society basis only, and many of them are we financed on.
Sir, but my doubt is, but in the case of trust and societies, that scheme with additional 2.5%, because these members and executives may change after, not permanent. So in that case, are they eligible with that additional 2.5% without guarantee and collateral? That's my same doubt connected with that, sir.
Sir, that's 2.5% is the CGTMSC, sir. CGTMSC cover up to 2 crores is there. That premium,
they are also eligible now. Societies and trusts are also.
They are also eligible. Yes, sir. They come under that only. Then only they're eligible.
Without any guarantee and from the promoters or the executives of the society.
No, sir. Any loan, sir, personal guarantee we obtain, sir. Even for companies also, we take personal guarantee. All the directors and all the partners also. Without that, only on basis of trust or company, even for private limited company, we take personal guarantee of directors, sir.
That is there, but in the case of societies, they are not permanent. That's why. Anyway,
if they change, they have to. If they interest somebody, because as per the bylaws, if they interest somebody, as per bylaws, whatever they give authorization to certain people, they have to sign. In trust and society, what happened? Maybe in trust or society, maybe 100 members are there. But I think there are 4 people, 5 people only. Major people will be there. Maybe trustees have authorized to sign the documents in bank. So on that basis only we go. We don't need to give all 100. We don't need to sign. We don't need to get.
No. What I'm saying, they can be the signatories, but whether they have to be the guarantors for that loan, because they may change on rotation or on election like that. That is why I'm asking.
That not required, sir. That is not required.
Guarantee is not required.
No, personal guarantee is not required, but only
Good.
trust is required.
Very good. That's a good point. Thank you, sir.
Ram Krishna, please unmute and ask your query. Yeah, go to you. Your voice is not audible. Ram Krishna. A. Ramakrishna. So, sir, any questions are Satyaran? Yeah, please go through Ramakrishna. Please increase your voice. Your voice is not audible. Sir, Satyanarayan garu, any doubt, sir? Please unmute and ask, sir. Please unmute. Yeah.
Will you give short-term loan for the subsidy also? Before the sanctioning of subsidy, you require finance, because usually from subsidy and loan put together, we'll get 75% only. That's why whether you'll get the short-term loan up to the release of subsidy.
Sir, actually, we processing a subsidy. We don't take the part of a project cost, sir.
But will you consider for calculating the interest? Interest rate?
No, sir. Subsidy we don't consider any margin or any this one, sir. Subsidy we exclude, sir.
So we exclude from the computation of interest also on loan, because suppose I got 10 lakhs.
Yes, sir. For subsidy portion, when subsidy comes and credits in the account, we make a FD with that link with the loan, sir. So whatever subsidy amount is there, we don't charge interest, sir.
You are not being separately for subsidy loan. Total loan will be put together with subsidy and other things, and the total project will be considered without considering the subsidy loan. But subsidy.
Yes, sir. Because subsidy, what happens is, subsidy we don't know when it will come.
That's
Because subsidy comes only after loan processing and everything. This may say 6 months or 1 year it takes, sir. So we don't consider subsidy as anywhere. But once a subsidy comes, we don't charge interest on whatever subsidy portion is there. We don't that is linked to the loan component. So your interest will not be charged on the subsidy portion.
Okay.
If any queries are there, please unmute yourself and ask. Ramakrishna is about to ask something, and your voice is not reaching us. Ramakrishna from Arshapeta. Sir, somebody is asking that some managers are asking for the chartered accountant to sign on the project reports. Is it really required or not? The chat box they have been typed. Can you answer, sir? Some branch managers.
Manager are insisting for signature on
Project
cash flows also.
Sir, project cost is not required, sir. Up to 25 crores in our bank, sir. Up to 25 crores is not required, sir. Only client signature is sufficient, sir.
Yes, sir.
But this whatever IT returns you are submitting, sir, on that we are asking signature, sir, because that is filed by you only. So that way we are asking, but we other than like a CMA and all that we are not asking. We link projected balance sheet and all that we don't need to sign by you. But on the audited balance sheet, whatever filed by you, on that we require your signature, sir, with UDN number.
If it is an audit report, we can put an UDN number, sir. For attestation purpose also, you have to generate UDN, sir.
Attestation is not required, sir. Attestation is not required, but only attestation is only for certification only. That is attestation is sufficient. UDN is not required, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, other than my submission, I think we are all chartered accountants. Last time also I told, as a banker and as a chartered accountant, we are the main for any economy. Actually, your certificates are more important for us, for bankers. So what is happening in many of the cases, what is happening is many of the bankers, like private banks, what is happening is they are, or I don't know how they're financing. See, basic banking principle is same for every bank, for private sector bank or public sector bank or cooperative bank. The system is same. They deviate too much deviation they do, sir. On that process, what happens is maybe client way they feel that okay, they are giving loan at maybe some concession, they try to tempt it. But what if you that's a law in our presentation also there. If you just ask, you go through their sanction terms and they don't know. Actually, clients they don't know. They what they feel is, you know, if any bank is financing at 7%, they see that okay, 7% we are getting. Even if over finance is also they are getting. They tempt to go to those banks. But what is happening is ultimately when over finance is not required, sir. Actually, only you need 10 to 20% extra finance may be required for any expansion or for some any adjustment they have to make in for any any they are facing some crisis or something. But when happening, we find as a state banker, we many of the times we find that they some bankers they try to tempt at 7%, they give over finance. Maybe we finance 5 crores, they try to finance 10 crores. What happening is here ultimately you're not going to fail, sir, because they don't have capacity to meet. What they do go for diversion, and they do sometimes now the many of the units are facing the same problem, sir, because of Modi government. After coming Modi government, what is happening is the demonetization, GST, and all so many things are stringent things are coming in financial system. So accordingly, what is happening? They cannot divert too much of amount now. Even Aadhaar, CKYC has come. Say where CKYC, what is happening in CKYC? Whatever the properties and everything is there, that will come in single platforms. In future, maybe that will come. So they cannot divert too much. And once account fails, what happening is in our bank it happening we are making responsible for even auditors like not auditors actually valuer and panel advocates also, and valuers also were making banking making responsible. But when going to other forums like government, when going to bank government sector like CBI or other government agencies are going, they are making auditor also responsible, sir. But we come across many of the cases where they're asking also who is the chartered accountant, who is the balance sheet they have provided, how on that basis of finance. So that those problems are also coming, sir. So in this background, this is an opportunity for me to just to have submit you that you see that the client also, sir. We have to see the client also why he's asking so much of fund. Really, is it really required or not required? Because unnecessary, because what is happening is because of your signature, they're approaching the different banks and they're taking over finance or maybe at interest rate, concession rate, they're saying. But ultimately, after many of the balance sheet, many of the sanction letters and many of the account statement we have gone through, like HDFC or Axis or ICICI Bank, what is happening is while sanction, they are quoting a 7%. After 3 months, they are what they are doing, they are quoting 1-day MCLR or EBLR rate. After 3 months, when we see that their interest rate will be around 10% or something. So these things we are observing while going through their balance sheet and their account statement and their sanction letter. So this is one of my suggestion that you just go through their sanction letter immediately after sanctioning a loan by any bank, not only State Bank, any bank. You just go through all the sanction terms and conditions, and the unit has to comply with those sanction terms and conditions. Otherwise, there are many units. Last year, what happened? 150 crores unit taken over by HDFC from our Nellore branch. Within 3 months, a customer came to us and said that, sir, no, sir, I want to come back immediately. But what happened is we could not able to take over. What the bank says that now minimum 3 years, up to 3 years, we cannot take over the unit which have already gone to other bank. So these are the things only just want to suggest, and I think you are the best person to suggest to your clients, sir. That is very important.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. On behalf of the Guntur branch of SIRC, on behalf of the committee of the Guntur branch, we are thankful for the participation of today's chief guest, Sri Mittapalli Srinivasa Chakravarti Garu, and today's speaker, August. This is the second time we are using the speaker. Is eminent in spite of his, what you call children's time and your better off home minister time spending with us. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for sparing your valuable time. And also thank you very much all the members who are participated here. In spite of the Sunday is a mandatory program and conducted by the ICI. We have never conducted any meeting on Sunday, but this is the first time we are conducting. At least 10 to 20 members are joined in the meeting. I thank you very much for all the members who have participated in this meeting. And once again, I thank the Tarkeswara sir and the chief guest Muttapalli Chakravarti Srinivas Garu, and today's Changal Reddy sir, who was attended as an August guest of honor. And thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for giving the opportunity, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Raghu. Okay, sir. Please. Amarnath.